Hello, students. So, we are going to discuss responsibility accounting in addition to operational performance measures and the balance scorecard. Now, what is our first learning objective? It is for us to be able to discuss what responsibility accounting is all about. Now, what I would like you to remember is it's about goal congruence. Okay? Why is that so? Because in a firm, we have the management who act as an agent, no? Um, with regards to the owner of the firm and the employees. Remember that those who are in the management will actually be assessed with regards to their performance, likewise with the employees. And from the perspective of the firm, we know that, okay, so we talk about the benefit of the management and the benefit of the employees. What would be the benefit of the management? Normally, aside from the salary, they would have sometimes a share, okay? Likewise, employees would actually be also earning a salary. On the other hand, if you are the owner, okay, you will have a share sa profit, right? So, the goal congruence focuses more on the perspective of the owner and with regards to the employees, okay? And which partly is also the management. They are also the employees of the firm. So it is about the firm versus the all the employees. We're talking about the goal congruence. Why? Because the higher the salary, the lower the profit. Remember that the profit is the one that would be a direct benefit to the firm. So responsibility accounting role is to look into the performance, how it would be measured. And how can we do that? So let's take a look at objective number 2. And in objective number 2, we have to take a look at what are the different types of responsibility centers. And it is a subunit. What can we think of a subunit? So you have to look at the organizational structure for you to know what are the subunit. Okay? And then uh, who has the role of as well as the function to manage the unit, because they are the one who would be accountable now, because they are given the responsibility to manage the sub unit. Now, what are these sub unit? So we have 4 sub unit. The first one is the cost center. The second one is the revenue center. Then we have the third one would be profit, and the fourth one will be investment, which will be presented on the next slide. Now, how can we know if it is a cost center or a revenue center? It is important for you to know its function and what is being controlled. In this case, it is cost. Say if it is in CLSU, although it is a government unit, no? But think of the different units. We have the academic unit. If CLSU is not a state university and it is a private institution, then your academic unit will be a profit center, right? How about other unit? We have the administration, it's a cost center. The library, no, you might say, Ma'am, there are fees, but it's minimal, no? unless otherwise they are selling books. So that would be also a profit center. Okay. What else will be the cost center? Those in the servicing unit, such as the motor pool, maliban na lang kung nagpaparent sila ng van, di ba? Kung ano nga class, kung private, no, institution. Then we have yung sa security, di ba? Yan. The revenue center would be more so of controlling earning revenue. And dito ang binigay sa inyo kasing sample, kita nyo, paint department, service yan, diba? Reservation. No? Kasi they are directly related to the profit center. So with us, it can be the Office of Admission kasi they are the one managing, no, those who would be enrolled in the organization. Then, in some texts, you would find that the revenue center and the profit center is just combined as one. Okay? Now, how about the profit center? O, binigyan na natin ng sample, di ba? But in this case, you have the company-owned restaurant because there is a cost incurred at the same time you're earning. And then investment center would be looking at also invested capital. No? Hindi lang earnings, but also invested capital. And what would that be? Those that would require a capital outlay on a regular basis. Then this would entail projects, no? Because if you are in our institution, if it is, we're going to convert it into, let's say, we assume that it is private, then those related to projects, no? In this case, you are given a division, no? A specific division that would make a capital outlay. With us, yung mga project ng CLSU. Okay? Now, what's our learning objective 3? And that would be, how can we assess? No? How are we going to evaluate or evaluate the performance? What if it is a cost center, a revenue center, or profit center, and then if we have investment center. If it is cost center, that would be variance. Likewise with revenue, it can be variances, and also in terms of return. Okay? And if it is your investment center, how are we going to assess? It would be economic value added. Okay? And this will be an experience point. I would like you to define it and compare it with residual income. Okay? Are they similar or are they different? Okay? So, let's continue because it's important for you to assess, evaluate. Kasi yun ng performance ang tinitingnan natin. Okay? Take a look. This one, you have the flexible budget item from your operations budget. And then we have the actual result. Then we determine the difference. Of course, with cost, what we want is what? Favorable or unfavorable? Pag favorable, ano ang mas mataas? The budget. At pag unfavorable, mas mataas ang actual. Kasi we're talking about cost. Mas mataas na gastos kaysa sa ine-expect mo. Hindi maganda yon. Pero, pagka tayo ay nag-evaluate ng performance, sometimes, actually not sometimes class, but whether it is favorable or unfavorable, you have to take a look in sometimes because we have the so-called relevant range, the tolerable limits. Anything way beyond what within the range that you can accept, no, as within the range of the positive or the negative result, whether it be favorable or unfavorable, no? You have to look into it. Because sometimes, especially kung, although ina-assume natin na yung pagsiset ng budget, this is participative, no? Uh, hindi lang top-down but bottom-up approach, no? That everyone who would be affected by the budget had actually been part of the formulation of the budget. Kasi 'di ba minsan yung budget pwedeng relax. Alam mo yung sobrang madaling ma-achieve. No? Kaya siguro laging pinapakita na he he was able to maintain a cost, low cost in operating his unit. Nung pala ang ginawa niya overstated, no? O kaya easily attained, 'di ba? Likewise, if it is a revenue, sobrang binabaan niya para mas madali siyang makitang, ang galing niyang mag-earn, no? Galing niyang makapag-generate ng revenue. So, we have to take a look at how they set the standard. If it is somehow achieve, practical, no? Within the normal range, no? Okay. Now, what else do we have to be concerned of? Not that in your learning objective, it's if it is responsibility accounting, we cannot do away with cost allocation. Cost allocation na naman, ma'am? Yes, because we know that there are departments who are also performing services kasi that would benefit your product. Kaya nga, meron tayong common cost. And it's actually the common cost that you distribute to the subunit, wherein this cost had benefited this subunit. Okay? And if you do remember, it's so crucial for us to choose our allocation base. And likewise, if it is responsibility accounting, there is also activity-based and traditional based. So we would also be partly applying what you learn, no, in allocation if it is activity-based and traditional costing system. So both ways, okay? Then we have to look at the behavioral aspects of responsibility accounting. Why information versus blame? Because we need to look at what are the requisites for a responsibility accounting be fully implemented in your organization. First, di ba kanina binanggit ko na, you have to have a predefined organizational structure. You need to have clear measures and standard for performance, your key performance indicator. Okay? And the unit head, the accountable manager, should be aware of the ins and out of the key performance indicator or the evaluation standards. And you have to address the uncontrollable factors. Okay? Kaya, you have to, kita nyo na ibanggit na yung controllability. But why information versus blame? Kasi you cannot do away with the making use of judgment. So, you have to be very careful when looking at assessment of the performance. Kasi parang you would, di ba, you are assessing the subunit, you are assessing the one who actually head the unit, the one who leads the unit. So sometimes there are cases that you cannot do away with putting blame, but it's all about asking the right question in order for us to have accurate information, proper recognition of the responsibility center, and we have to really be able to assign cost and revenue to one individual. Why controllability? Kasi yan, you cannot be assessed on something that you are not responsible of. Okay? kailangan you are the one exercising significant influence. You are the one making the decisions. Kasi if you're not the one making the decision, how can you be accountable at your end? And it is used as a tool to motivate. Kasi nga, uh, the one, the key performance indicator that being used for you to be evaluated is you have been part of uh, establishing or setting up these measures, 'di ba? And besides, it would give you proper recognition with your achievement. So when you are looking at responsibility accounting, no, you have to remember there's steps to follow. That there needs to be a proper definition of the different centers. And we know that we have four, di ba? And make sure that you have set up your KPI well, not to this center. Yung different targets, no? Very clear yung pag-set mo dito. And you have a way to monitor, to track the performance. There is a reliable evaluation scheme. And you have to regularly uh, compare your target with actual in order for us to make immediate, for us to be able to take immediate action and finding the reasons why there are different, why there is a difference, why there is a variance. Diba? For us to be able to correct, no? If it does not conform with our expectation. Okay? Now, after we take a look at that, so how about the next thing? We normally provide segmented reporting. That is, we say, for example, the different divisions will have a different report. We're going to evaluate them. Parang kung sa CLSU, iba ang report ng academic unit, ng administrative unit, no? In terms of their performance. Kasi, yun ang focus ng responsibility accounting. That we are looking at the part of the organization, the unit. Kaya nga sinabing segment. Okay? Now, ito yung, although this is one sample, no? Ito yung mga different division, no, will be reporting, or even these units will be providing a report, the resort, the lodge, and the hotel. Okay? And what I would like you to look at would be the segment contribution margin, the segment profit margin, okay? Kasi to, before you compute for the segment profit margin, dito class pumapasok yung allocation. And what is contribution margin? That is revenue less variable cost, or yung revenue nyo, you call it sales if it is merchandising or manufacturing, and this will be service income if it is service type. Okay, so that would be your contribution margin. And the variable cost will be both product and period if you are using contribution margin approach. Okay, but all costs that changes will form part of the cost that you would include, no, to compute for the contribution margin. Okay, and how are you going to assess them? You would assess them based on the segment profit margin, no? But this one, tingnan nyo class, traceable. So this is a direct cost na hinati-hati, no? And yung isa, yung one that you cannot trace, no, to each of the subunit, yun na yung we call it common fixed cost. Kasi anong ginagamit natin dito? Sales less variable cost, contribution margin less fixed cost is net income. No, yun yung model na ginagamit natin dito. Okay? And yung fixed cost nyo, one that is traceable and one that is not traceable. And the traceable that is used to compute for the segment profit margin. So, ano yung sinabi dito? Contribution format, which had been shown in the sample. And we need to really determine what is controllable and uncontrollable, because if you notice, in determining your segment profit, nandito yung controllable expenses. Okay? And so, we have to present a segmented income statement if it is responsibility accounting. Okay? Now, when we take a look at the profitability analysis of your organization, we have to look at the different activities undertaken by your organization, which would be value adding, no, non-value adding, one that would contribute to your profit. And when you talk of profitability analysis, what are the 5 factors affecting profit? First, of course, will be cost, which will be divided into variable cost and fixed cost. So this would be prioritized. First one. Why? Kasi this you know what to expect. Pag tumaas, tataas. Itong fixed cost, hindi di ba? Iba ang nature niya. Pag tumataas, bumababa siya on a per unit basis. Samantalang ang variable cost mo naman, on a per unit basis, it is fixed, but it is increasing as your activities are actually increasing. On the other hand, your fixed cost is it doesn't change regardless of the driver. Okay? And then the second one would be, although we have 5, so this would be 1, 2, then we have now 3. That would be the volume. The number of units that you were able to produce or to procure and sell, or the number of hours that you were able to provide your services. Okay? And the first 3 are actually the ones that highly controllable at your end. Kasi dito, ikaw ang nagde-decide kung gagastusin mo ba o hindi. Dami ng oras na isa-servisyo mo, dami ng ipoproduce mo at ibebenta mo. Diba? And number 4 will be the price. Dito, you have to take a look at the client diba? Kung you have to consider them. Kaya nga, yung cost, minsan you have to try your best to lower it, especially if you are not the leader in the field. Diba? So, if you're not the market leader, you have to really try your best to have a price that would be competitive enough for the client be somehow attracted to buy your product, diba? And the sales mix. Ano to? Yung combination ng product that you can sell to be able to maximize profit. Okay? So those are the factors that would affect profit, of which at your end, it would be the first 3 that would be highly controllable. Then your learning objective number 6 would be looking at the operational control measures in a manufacturing environment. We have to look at the quality of the type of the material that we are using. Lead time, we look at from the time that we are going to order to the time that we'll be able to receive the materials in time for production. This in terms of the scrap, those parts of the material that cannot be utilized to produce the product, can we process it further or just sell it as is? And of course, we need to take a look at the cost of the material. We have to try our best to secure from the best supplier with minimal cost. As to inventory control, we have to remember to balance between ordering costs and carrying costs. So, when you look at the average holding time, this would be looking at ha, ah, yung tagal na mini-maintain natin yung ating materyales, yung ating finished goods, no, para it is of good quality, no? Kasi holding time is gaano katagal natin siya mini-maintain. And the average value of what we maintain as our inventory, kasi we would like to prevent stock out cost. Yung pag may surge sa demand ay siguraduhin natin na meron. Kaya lang, it's a balance between gaano kadami yung i-maintain ko. Kasi as much as possible, di ba meron tayong tinatawag na just-in-time system. Kung pwede nga lang na zero yung i-maintain mong inventory. Ibig sabihin, dadating yung inventory in time for production. Mas maliit kasi yung gagastusin mo na carrying cost doon. Okay? Halos wala nga pagka just in time. And ito, you are looking at the ratio of inventory versus the sales revenue. Siyempre, gusto mo naman, kasi inventory value is a cost item. Is it worth it to maintain that level of cost for you to be able to earn that much, diba? And the machine performance, kasi this is support, no? This is what you need for you to be able to produce. Availability, we look at how long can we be able to produce. Kasi kung hindi available, ano mangyayari, diba? Downtime would be, ito yung, siyempre kailangan hindi 24 hours na utilize ang machines, diba? And even people who operate machine, they also have to rest. Although, merong tinatawag tayong shifting. But downtime is also related to maintenance. And you have to have a well-maintained, no, an updated record for this. Setup is also a downtime kasi pag may bago kang machine, hindi agad yan magiging available. Or pag ni-repair mo, so may mga setup time din. So that will form part of downtime. And the lesser the time that you utilize a machine, the lower will be your efficiency, diba? Kaya tinitingnan yan. Then product quality would look at warranty. Di ba hindi lahat nagbibigay ng warranty? Tapos yung iba, limited warranty. Napakadalang ng produkto na may lifetime warranty. And we also look at the level of complaints. The lower the complaint, then ibig sabihin the better will be the product that you have provided and the services that you have given. Lalo na kung kukonti yung returns. Pero pag maraming returns, naku, ibig sabihin may defective product ka. And most often, if you have defective product, the question is, am I going to rework this or sell it as is? Kasi you have to determine, is it worth it, no, to process it further? Then, what else? You use manufacturing cycle time, velocity, and manufacturing cycle efficiency. All of this would be able to compute, okay? And likewise with delivery. These are measures like yung mga diniscuss natin kanina, no? These are measures with regards to operational performance in order for us to determine kung naging effective and efficient ba tayo. Okay, siyempre pag delivery, ang gusto natin, on time, rightful yung pag-deliver dun sa in-order. Okay? And siyempre yung delivery cycle time would be looking at the shorter the better, di ba? And what else? We have the aggregate productivity, partial productivity. And why do we need to compute for aggregate productivity? Sa tingin nyo, ano ang buting idudulot nito sa atin? And how about partial productivity? Itong partial productivity sa inyo yan. That will be your experience point. What is the meaning of partial productivity? But when you look at aggregate productivity. This is looking at if your output, no, uh, in terms of your production, uh, how does it, what is the proportion in terms to your input used? Okay? And when you talk of input, ano to? Land, labor, capital. Okay? Although normally we would look at labor and capital if it is with your aggregate productivity. And sometimes they use here the Cobb-Douglas function. Okay? For the aggregate uh, productivity, because it would look into the change in terms of technology, in terms of efficiency. How were you able to grow? Okay. Um, how about innovation and learning? We look at, kita nyo class, so percentage of sales from the new product and what are your cost savings. And let's go to learning objective. This is a balanced scorecard. We'll have a separate detailed discussion on the balanced scorecard. This is merely an introduction. Uh, a balanced scorecard is also a way for us to evaluate performance, no? Which consider non-financial measure, which is different from the cost center performance and the revenue and your profit and investment center. Okay, and in order for us to look at the balance scorecard, we have four aspects: financial, customer, learning and growth, and internal operation. So let me stop at this point, no, because we have to discuss balance scorecard at different material. I hope you learned something from this. Thank you and good day.